When weird stuff happens, you'll hear it here. You might not hear it here first, but you'll still hear about it. And now your Weekend Weird Files host, Andrea Lee.
Good morning and welcome to the Weekend Weird Files. Now, believe it or not, I couldn't find any weird news to bring you this week. So I'm going to update you guys on a few things that we've talked about in the past couple of months, I would say. Last week, I talked about the body parts that had washed up in McKay Bay in Florida. At that point, they had identified the remains, but that was about all they knew at that point. Now, this past week, there was an arrest in the case. Tampa police arrested 69-year-old Robert Kessler on unrelated drug charges. While he was already in jail, he was also charged with the second-degree murder of Stephanie Cron Overholtz, as well as abusing a dead body. The relationship between Kessler and Overholtz is unclear at this time, but Kessler denies any involvement in her death. The two, what we do know is that they had met in a McDonald's parking lot, and somehow during a conversation, it came out that Overholtz was homeless and was living in her car. Well, at that point, Kessler offered her a place to stay, and according to him, he later had to kick her out. Now, there's still a lot of blanks that have to be filled in this case, but I'll be back with any updates that come out in the future. Now, earlier this week, I also brought to you that the cause of death for Brian Laundrie was revealed. So now we have to think, what happens now? There's still so many unanswered questions, and I'm sure there's a lot of them that we'll probably never have the answers for. Now, not that there's a good reason that any of this happened, but, one of those questions is, what events led to Gabby's death? What did happen? And one question that I have that could possibly be answered sooner or later is, if Brian's death was ruled a suicide, where's the gun? If he shot himself in the head, wouldn't the gun have to be somewhere close to his body? Now, we do know that on the same day that his parents reported him missing, they also surrendered all of their firearms to law enforcement. Well, in the process of doing that, they did notice that one of their guns was missing. Well, it seems pretty obvious that maybe Brian left with that gun, but where is it now? Now, I suppose it is possible that a gun has been recovered in that search and we just weren't told about it. Because, they do that sometimes. But I just can't help that feeling that something isn't quite right about any of this case. There's also that notebook that was found among some of the items that were found near his remains. Now, will we find out if there was anything revealing written in it? And y'all, I can't be the only one who thinks that it's pretty fishy that after weeks of searching for Brian in that reserve, his parents just walk in and find him just like that. Now, any other time that there was a case that, the person of interest or suspect is found dead or, commit suicide or whatever, I could just let it go, be like, well, that's that. But on this case, I just can't. It just isn't sitting right with me. I don't know. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about on this subject later. Now, back in September, we talked about a South Carolina native who went missing in Arizona. Daniel Robinson was reported on June 23rd. Nearly a month later, his Jeep Renegade was found and it was wrecked, but it was less than 3 miles from the work site where he was last seen. Now, Robinson's father, David Robinson, has been very instrumental in organizing search parties in hopes of finding his son. And twice he's even found human remains in his searches, but neither sets were identified as belonging to Daniel. Unfortunately, there's not really any update to this story, but I just wanted to keep his name out there. His dad's still desperately searching for him. And he says that he will continue to search for him, as long as it takes. Now, before I wrap it up for today, I just want to remind y'all that we will be appearing in the Union, South Carolina Christmas Parade on December the 3rd at 6 p.m. Now, I do know that it's going to be streamed live on Facebook. And when I found out like exactly where to go to watch that, I'll be sharing that information. And on December the 11th at 1 p.m., we're also going to be in the Whitmire Christmas Parade. I'm not sure if that one's going to be streamed anywhere. But, when I find out, I'll let y'all know. Well, that's it for today's Weekend Weird Files. Y'all have a great Saturday.